Hello.
Hello.
So, we know you're all waiting for Jason, but he's on his way. But we thought we'd come and say hello rather than just be sat over there. But Jason is coming, right? So, there you go.
We'll make a human pyramid and do an impression of Jason. I'll be the head.
Are you quiet?
Hi, y'all.
Should we introduce ourselves? Okay, let's go. You, start. Miltos, you start.
Oh, hello. I'm Miltos Yerolemou, and I played Syrio Forel in Game of Thrones.
Hello?
Woo. Hello, I'm Finn Jones. I play Soloris Tyrell.
This one doesn't work.
But with
I'm
less
Gethin Anthony.
hair.
I play King Renly Baratheon.
I am Kristian Nairn, and I play Hodor.
Hi, I'm Esmé Bianco and I play Roz.
And I'm Joseph Gatt, and I play a secret character from season 4.
So, hi. Should we open it up to questions? Would that be easier? Do you guys have questions?
Anyone
Not a
have
single
question?
one.
I think that's smart.
Who has a question? I think, can we get a floating mic to send out to the audience? Is that possible?
Run, Forrest, run.
Any volunteers out there to be the mic runner? Yay! If we can, here, you can take one of our mics maybe. We'll have one like mic. Oh, okay. Here, have this one.
You have to, or you could just come to the front and speak really loudly and introduce yourself and then give us your question.
Stand up if you have a question. Oh, look, there's a question.
Hi.
Nice.
I'm just having a look around the room to see if David and Dan or George have snipers out there ready to take me down if I say the wrong thing. All I can say about my character is that I am affiliated with Tormund and Ygritte, and I'm going to have something to do with Castle Black. Lots of blood, lots of fighting, and lots of other horrible Game of Thrones stuff. That's all I can say.
Should we go? Should we leave? This is awkward.
All right. It's easy.
Stand up.
Stand up, stand up.
Okay. All right. I have a question for everybody. Most of y'all work with kids on the set. How is that?
Awful.
I didn't work with any children. Except for that baby that they killed, and that was not fun.
And don't even talk about dire wolves either. Well, of course, I worked with Maisie Williams, and when we worked together, it was, obviously, she was 13. She'd never done any acting before. And, I mean, I've said this a million times, but she is fantastic. And there's it's an amazing thing when you work with someone who has no experience, but can completely just be in the moment. And it's kind of the thing that we always try and do as actors, but when we get older and we kind of overcomplicate things by thinking about things too much or overanalyzing things too much. And it's amazing when you work with people like that who are so just doing it, you know, reacting, just being in the moment. And you learn a lot. And, you know, she's amazing, and she just gets better and better.
Okay, what's your line?
Well, unfortunately, I also work with children. Before I met Isaac, I could walk. I didn't have any back problems. Isaac has probably tripled in size since season 1. And he's 15. He's coming 15 years old now, and he's starting to grow out this way as well, and it's just fucking terrible, to be honest. So, also, well, like Maisie, he's an incredibly talented little actor. He's always completely spot on. His lines are never wrong, but he's extremely clumsy. There's not one piece of technology that I own that I haven't had to replace. Or he breaks iPads, he breaks iPhones, absolutely everything. My back, obviously, is broken. And yeah, he's a really, really great kid. All the kids are really talented, but he is a burden. I'm not gonna lie. Anyone else? Well, no.
I worked with Sophie for quite a bit, and she's really sweet. She has this thing every time in between takes, she just plays music on her iPhone and just sings. It's like having like this annoying little sister next to you. Like it's just like singing like Justin Bieber. Oh my God. Her obsession with Justin Bieber is just beyond. Sophie. Oh, the amount of times I've just been like, come on girl, when are you gonna grow out of it? Justin Bieber's terrible.
Could have gone one of 2 ways.
Phew, that was a relief.
What? New plan. So if you have a question, so we can come up here and we'll start a line and they can walk forward and ask it.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. Well for that.
All right, cool. You gotta come up front. All right, cool. Right in front of the actors. Cool. Never been by celebrities before.
I feel like we're in the Iron Throne. And you just kind of
So, real quick question. Some of you have died. I'm not gonna say who. How are you informed of it? Do they, do you know the day before the episode is filmed, or do you know before the season is even begun, or how are you informed?
But people ask that a lot. I knew way before I even signed the contract, like what episode I was going to die in, effectively, or like around about. I didn't obviously have the scenes written down, but because the early series are very close to the books in like when the big deaths happen. They kept, like, I knew it was going to be around that time. I was still bummed, but I was prepared for it. But I don't know. And I guess you would kind of say.
Of course, because I read the first book, so it's quite clear. Or is it? Actually, this is the whole point. This is the biggest question I get asked over and over again, because it's not clear. Everyone gets kind of really messy, very explicit deaths, and one or two of us just disappear. And that's all I'm saying.
Like, did you know when?
No. Well, because I'm not in the books, there was like no precedent for when I would die. And so I didn't, like, you guys, I never signed, because they wrote my part as they went along. So there was no, like, I'm signing on for this many seasons. They would just, call me up and be like, yo, you want to do the next season? I'm like, yeah, if I must. So they called me. I actually got an email from David and Dan, who are the showrunners, producers. I got an email from their assistant that was like, David and Dan want a conference call you. And I was like, oh, shit. It's like, this can't be good news. And then they called me and, oh, hello. They called me and they told me, but they didn't tell me how. They were just like, the time has come. And I was like, I knew, it's like the breakup phone call. I knew it was coming. I'm like, fine. And then, but they didn't tell me how. They pussied out on telling me how. They just sent me the script, and I was mad. I was like, no, not him. Yeah, so that's how I found out. I was like, not acceptable.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, why are we half in the dark? Are we ugly?
Hello.
Hey, it's my brother.
Hello. I have a question for the new character.
In the spirit of South Park, how naked are you going to be?
I didn't even hear what he said. But say that again.
How many times are you going to get naked?
Yeah, as Esmé just said, it's a legitimate question. Not as many times as I wanted to. That's all I can say on that point.
Do the carpets match the drapes?
Perfectly.
Thank you for lowering the tone.
That's a Game of Thrones panel.
Welcome.
I don't think I could top that. I thought I was going to break the ice on the nude scenes, but do you get notified and paid more for nude scenes?
Is this
Or do the
question
girls-
who's this question directed at?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone. Because everyone gets naked in Game of Thrones. Like, do they just slip you
Well,
a
I think
50
at
on
this
that day?
stage, there are more people on the stage who have been nude than haven't, which is a really, really sad state of affairs. I did not get paid more.
Are you guys notified beforehand? Look,
Yes.
It's gonna be nude.
I mean, it was part of my overall package, if you want. You know what I mean? Drum roll. Yeah, that was solid. But yeah, it wasn't really something I envisaged myself doing, like prancing out of a bush. But it was somehow liberating. And yeah, someone got me a Hung Like Hodor t-shirt today, so yeah, I will never wear it, I have to say, but I may frame it.
That's awesome. I guess our scene in the first season wasn't written when we started shooting the show. They wrote the scene like into the show, so they kind of had to ask us if it was okay. They did, didn't they, right? And then we both sort of were okay with what they were suggesting, so it was kind of fine. But much less interesting than your story. But that's kind of what happened. But we didn't get paid anymore, no.
Does
This is a new idea. I love this idea. This is a brilliant idea. Like, there's a premium. I'm sure you would love it.
I'm an advocate for getting paid more for nude scenes. Totally, please. No, you don't get paid more for nude scenes. I mean, I obviously knew from like day one what I was, to a certain extent, but when I first signed up for the show, I was only meant to do that one scene with Peter Dinklage with Tyrion. That was the only scene I was ever meant to do, and then they just kept on writing the part, and the scenes just got like, I remember getting that now infamous scene with the other girl in Littlefinger's brothel, and I was like, what? Like, you realize my parents watch this show? But no, they are good. They discuss with you like what you're comfortable with, but you know, when you sign up and you sign on as a role as a prostitute, you kind of know what you're getting a little bit. But no, I think you should write a letter to HBO. In fact, I think we should start a petition right now. Let's do it. I'm dead, but you know, there's going to be a lot of nudity to come, I'm sure. So.
I have to say, one of the funny things was when I met you here, it was the last time I saw Esmé. We were both in a trailer having our private parts painted. or like
and I was like, whoa, nice to meet you, Kristian. Didn't you say that the first time you met Richard Madden, who plays Rob Stark, he had your prosthetic
He had my
on?
prosthetic on. I was running around the car park. Yeah, doing that sort of motion.
Oh, shoot, I just gave away the...
Oh, I don't want to build up anyone's hopes. Yeah, no. I do not have a 16-inch penis. Nor do I want one. So, there you go. Next.
Hi, my question is actually for Kristian as well. Your part, Hodor, was a special needs individual. What kind of research did you do into your character? Did you spend any time with special needs children or adults to kind of research?
Well, when I was a child, I had hearing difficulties, and I learned how to sign. And also before, I'm also a DJ, and I was training to be a sign language interpreter, to work as a counsellor with deaf people. And I think it really helped me translate the role of Hodor, how to translate non-verbally. But I have heard I've had a lot of responses from people who have autistic children and stuff, and they've seen a lot of autistic traits in Hodor and stuff, and I never really aimed it in that direction, but it makes me really happy actually to hear people can relate to him in that way, but definitely the sign language and stuff and the hearing impairment definitely helped me with the role.
I think you did a great job representing our special needs children and families.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm sure you guys have answered this question before, but what role would you guys play other than your own on the show?
I've never been asked that question.
Okay, good.
I always say Littlefinger.
Ooh.
Just because I think he would be a blast to play him, but like I always get a really weird response, like really, like there are a lot, or Arya Stark, obviously, but like I'm not gonna get away with that. Whereas I feel like Littlefinger would be a really fun, like what Aiden does is so dark, but like that would be a real challenge, I think. But anyway, but it always gets a dodgy reaction, so.
I love that. I think that's great. I often thought that's a fantastic character to play.
He's a paedophile, right? You want to play a paedophile?
It's a very challenging role.
I'm joking. I think I'd like to play Theon if I had a chance. Or Theon or Joffrey, someone like nasty.
Yeah.
I like Theon because he's not so clear cut. He's got good intentions, but he's just fucked up. Yeah. Well, he has got good intentions. He's trying to, he's trying to, look for a father figure and find his place in his family. Yes. Of course, Theon has good intentions. He's trying to, reconnect with his family, but he doesn't know how to. He's just deeply misguided. No? Am I just reading this the wrong way? Whereas Joffrey is just a little shit. He's just plain evil. Either that or the tree.
Okay, you're talking about Theon has.
Theon,
Okay. I thought you were talking about Joffrey having good
no,
intentions.
Joffrey, no.
I was like, are you out? Are we watching the same show? Hello.
I mean, it's so obvious, but Peter Dinklage's performance is amazing, and maybe it's his performance that makes me want to play that part. But no one else could play it, but he gets the best damn lines. I mean. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Hodor?
Hi. Well, like Littlefinger, my favorite character is definitely Varys. I think he's like the yin to your yang.
We should do some YouTube scenes.
That would be a very strange setup. But yeah, like Connaught, who plays Varys, is a fellow Irish actor, and I think he's an extremely talented man. I just love his twisted lines he has, and how he makes everything benefit him in the end and stuff. I think it's fantastic. So I'd go for Varys.
I think I'd be Cersei, because I have costume envy, severe costume envy. And she has like the best hair, and she's always drinking wine. Has anybody else noticed? When was the last time you saw a scene with Cersei where she doesn't have a glass of wine in her hand? Just saying, she gets to drink and she gets best costumes. And she may have a sex scene with Nikolai, which could, worse things could happen. Just saying.
Well, definitely, without being obvious again, Peter Dinklage, Tyrion Lannister, just being kind of serious. I know what it's like to grow up being different, with the way you look. I mean, obviously, I have a slight height difference with Peter, but I kind of understand the difficulties that you go through when you grow up looking different. And he just does such a fantastic job. His character is so three-dimensional. You know, there is so much going on in every single scene that he does. A lot of that character rings true for me. I know that sounds really weird, but I've had a very interesting childhood. And a lot of the stuff that happens, you know, between him and his father and his family is actually stuff that I kind of recognize, ironically. So yeah, I'd love to have played that role.
Hey, my name is Joelle, and I'm from North Houston. You said introduce yourself, so there we go. I have a question, kind of a twofer. Who, in terms of actor versus character, is the most just vastly different, like night and day, from their personality to their character's personality?
Without a doubt, it's Jack Gleason who plays Joffrey.
Yeah, he plays Joffrey.
He's like the coolest, smartest, nicest person you'll ever meet. He's nothing like Joffrey at all.
And then the second part, of course, is who's the closest?
Ooh.
Food for thought.
I don't know. Jason, in his absence, kind of is pretty much like, if you've ever hung out with Jason, it is kind of like hanging out with Khal Drogo. He's kind of crazy.
I actually think there's quite a lot of the actors hold traits to the characters they play, and I think that's such a testament to the casting and the casting process. I didn't say anyone is like exactly like them, but I think everyone has like lots of traces.
I just do an impersonation of my dad. So, and everyone says that I'm very much like my dad, so it's probably quite similar. I think, yeah, definitely Jason. Yeah. He's probably at the back, and he's going to rush the stage in a minute on a horse.
Hello, my name's John, and I also have a bit of a twofer. Now, those of you who have done combat on the show, have you had any training? Like, what's choreography like for the combat scenes? Particularly, you know, Loris with his jousting, Sirio with his fencing.
Mine's all stunt doubles. Like, I haven't done anything. It's all stunt doubles. So I just sit off set, like drinking my coffee, just watching my stunt double, just like be like completely ace. No, that wasn't me. No, not really. I just kind of ran on and just went, ooh, and then, ooh, Gwen, don't hurt me. It's awesome.
Well, of course, I'm the complete opposite, but that's because I'm completely obsessive with those things. But it was kind of stipulated in my, when I got the breakdown from the casting director, they kind of were looking for someone who could do some level, actually quite a high level of, like sword fighting, but not like drama school training, which kind of means that you would have had to be a professional sword fighter, which is completely illegal in this day and age. So I don't know what they really were looking for, but yeah, I had a bit of background, and I trained with a brilliant fight choreographer called William Hobbs, and you know, he's an amazing guy. He's 70 years old. He's got the face of a wizened old man, but the body of Bruce Lee, and I kind of based Sirio Farrell on him because he was my mentor for like 3 weeks and kind of taught me everything I needed to know. And then we had Buster Reeves, who was helping me with the Lannister fight, and him and the Hungarian stunt guys just let me beat the shit out of them. I didn't have to hold back. That was the brilliant thing. Most of the time you're going, oh, I'm so sorry. I kept hitting them between the legs. And there was a particular move where I had to slide through one of their legs and kind of take them out. And every time I did it, I used to headbutt them between the legs. And I'd do it over and over again. And I'd always be like, I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. And they'd just say, it's okay. They get paid for it. So... But I was very proud of myself because I did have a stunt double who was kind of my height and actually someone I knew, but he was ginger and had short hair, and they put him in a curly wig and painted on a beard. And I took one look at him, and it was all the motivation I needed not to let that man do anything in front of the camera.
And also, second part of my question, also this just popped in my head. If I guessed your character, could you tell me? What? If I guess who your character is, could you tell me?
Maybe. Yeah, go on.
Are you the guy that Cersei sends
The
to
guy?
Castle Black
What?
to kill Jon Snow?
What? Am I the guy who does what to Jon Snow? I keep my clothes on with Jon Snow. No, what? No, I really wish I could tell you more about my character. I can tell you that I fight a lot of Hungarians. And I did
Always
not
fun.
get a stunt double. I nearly broke my neck working on that show, but that's another thing altogether. No, I wish I could tell you some more stuff, but no, can't.
Okay. And also, I'm starting to
It's
hog
gonna
the
be
mic,
dirty,
but,
though.
But this is the companion to my sword fighting question. The horses. Anyone had any trouble with the horses?
So, okay, when I did this scene on the cliffside with Stannis, the face-off with Stannis, Michelle, people might not know this, but Michelle Fairley grew up on the north coast of Ireland riding horses bareback from like the age of 7 or something. Michelle Fairley is an incredible horse rider, and she was behind me. So when we did the little, the exit, like I say my snooty comment, and then we like ride off, like because we were on a cliff, I was kind of just doing it nice calmly, let's just not kill anybody, right? Let's just, up we go. And like, we did it about 5 times, and then just over my shoulder, I hear Michelle going, Gethin, next time we do that, are you gonna go any faster? Because some of us can ride horses, and we're all looking a bit rubbish back here. I was like, oh, right, yeah, sure, Michelle, right, great, fine. And then, I just got worse. But, and also, I was, like, parked. It was like parking a car on a cliff. It was, like the whole scene, he was, like, you're, like, trying to hold the clutch on a car. It was just, like, rocking back and forth. But I love my horse. He was great. But I was just embarrassed for Michelle, because Michelle's an amazing horse rider.
Any other horse stories? You have a horse?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I was wondering, when you guys took the roles, was it a requirement to actually read the books, or did you guys read it for fun? Or even read it?
I, alas, have not read the books. I did the audition, and I came home and I told my mother that I did a part for something called Game of Thrones, and the part was Hodor, and Mum's jaw just dropped, and she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's just some part, he doesn't say very much. And she went, Kristian, just take the part. If they offer you, take the part, it's going to be massive. So my mother was a huge Game of Thrones fan, she still is, and that's been our dinner conversation for the last 4 years. And it's a little old now, of course. And yeah, I Wikipedia'd all my parts, and I got my mum's Kindle and typed in Hodor and just read through all my parts. So I don't really care about the rest of you, to be honest. So.
It's not a requirement, no. I mean, actors work in a different way when they're working on screen scripts anyway. Like, sometimes it's really useful not to know stuff, especially because there's so much detail in the books. Like, I really enjoyed it to start off with, to get all the detail about the world and what it feels like to be in that world. But then once you've established that, you kind of don't want to know what's going on in certainly not in Essos and Daenerys' storylines, because it's like, you wouldn't, Renly doesn't have a clue about that. Or what he gets from Varys, or you can invent for yourself where you get information from. But yeah, like I wrote a story for myself about where me and Loris have been between the books. Like, I used that as a way in rather than just going over the books again. But it's not necessary. Did you read the books?
Yeah, I read the first 4 books, I think. Yeah. They're good? I mean, they're all right. The show's better. The books kind of just go on and on and on.
Next.
Hello, my name is Summer, and since she just took my question, I was going to ask if you who read the books before, who dived in and found out when they died. But I just want to thank you guys. When we talked to you today, you were all wonderful, and it was really nice meeting all you. So thank you so much for talking with the fans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Madeline.
Hello,
Hi.
Princess Madeline, I think it is. Yeah?
Awesome. Oh, no, witchy, evil, kill you. Okay, so I've always loved swordplay since I saw like The Princess Bride and Errol Flynn and doing Robin Hood, and my dad told me about how they were trained. But my question was, have you always had a passion? When did you first start to get into it, the swordplay? And for the rest of you, have you been able to enjoy any of the fighting besides just watching the stunt guys get into it?
I was taken, one of the very first movies I ever saw, my dad is not very cine literate at all. He's a traditional Greek man, ran a restaurant for 25 years, you know, kind of just ordinary, hardworking man. But he had an obsession with Bruce Lee. And I'm sure it was completely illegal at the time, but it was the first film he took me to at the cinema was The Big Boss. And that had a really lasting impression on me. So martial arts is how I got into it. And then I became obsessed with kind of Japanese culture and the whole idea of Ronin and samurai and stuff like that. And then I just was lucky enough to do it at, you know, when I was studying drama. And of course, then when I worked at the Royal Shakespeare Company, I did that over a period of about 10 years. And we got to use a lot of swords and daggers. And yeah, it just kind of continued from there. And that was what I kind of sold myself on at the audition for Game of Thrones. So, yeah.
Thank you. And did y'all get to enjoy or do more sword fighting?
I mean, there's nothing better than just hitting someone with a stick, is there? It's just something good about it. I mean, who doesn't like it?
I got a big club and a big, like, nasty sword, and I got to carve up a few people.
Yeah.
Because my background is, I mean, I was a former British Royal Marine, and then I did a lot of, thank you, and I did a lot of martial arts and stuff. That's my background, but I'm not really a sword person. You don't get taught how to use swords in the Royal Marines. And so nothing that I knew had any bearing on what I was doing in Game of Thrones. I'm basically just hacking people up, which is in itself a lot of fun. Especially in 6 inches of mud in pouring rain. It's hilarious. But yeah, it's tremendous fun, and then you have a great, you know, they have a fantastic stunt team as well that, you know, are just crazy bastards, a lot of them. And they actively encourage you to hit them, which is kind of nuts because that doesn't happen here in America. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun. But not something I can kind of take away with myself and use in real life, I don't think. At least...
No, because it'd go to prison.
Not legally. Maybe Jason could.
Hi, my name is Sana. My question is specifically for Mr. Anthony, but I'd love for everyone else to give their opinion as well. Mr. Anthony, you introduced yourself as King Renly, so I have to ask, who do you believe, if you can answer objectively, would be the best person to sit on the Iron Throne?
That's a really good question. I do introduce myself as King Renly Baratheon because I do think he would have been a great king. But I think, it's difficult because lots of people have theories about where the series are going and when the books are going, and I try and stay, my thoughts are separate from all of that. But like we talked about this yesterday, I guess. You think Bran, right? Finn's idea is Bran. I think that's a really good. I think I said I wanted like a sort of a triptych of you, Bran, and Brienne would like be really like cool team.
Okay.
I think there should be like a general council again, like there was about 50 years before the series starts in the if you look in the fan fiction and stuff. There was a council like I think in like, I can't remember the year now. I looked into all that, like why Renly thinks he has a right to do what he's doing. So I think there should be like a general council. It'd have Arya on it, and it'd definitely have Bran. And I don't know, maybe there'd be a seat for Jon Snow if he behaved himself. But like, I don't know. He could get everybody some tea. That'd be his job. Good Lord. No. But I think Bran is a really good suggestion of Finn's, actually. I do. But it's a great question.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all. That was so Texas it hurt my feelings. My name's Dre. I had a comment first for you. My youngest has autism. He just got his diagnosis last year, and Hodor is our hero because he's, whether you know it or not, every time we watch it, we're like, autism. I mean, because you can spot him. But we really love your character. And then my question was, the accents are killing me. Where are you guys from, and how did they put you all together? How did they find you guys? Because are you spread out? Because I know you said you're Irish.
Yeah. I'm from Belfast in Northern Ireland, where the show's shot.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where is everybody else from?
Well, Nina Gold, who is the casting director, she's the person who kind of finds us. And through agents and putting casting calls out, I mean, with the children, I actually don't know how they found it.
To find the kids, I think they went around to schools and were looking specifically for kids. But for most of their actors, they put casting calls out, and then actors go to the auditions, and then...
Right on. Where are you from? Because yours is my favorite.
Me?
Yeah.
What, my accent?
Uh-huh.
Oh, thanks. I'm from London.
You're from?
London?
Oh.
London.
Damn it, I heard it.
Apples and pears.
I love you guys. All right, okay. And thank you so much for being here.
Cool, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Badger.
Where are you from?
We've been demanded to tell where we're from. I'm from Hertfordshire, which is just outside London. But my accent is really screwed up. If you're English, then you would know my accent's a bit screwed up because I grew up near Liverpool, and both my parents are northern. So the accent that you hear, like myself and Sean Bean and anybody who's like from the north, is based very closely on like a northern English accent, whereas you guys all did.
We got told to do RP, which is like general American or standard, like a standard.
Which is like the standard, like the Queen's English. So anyone from King's Landing did the Queen's English, and then everyone from up north, from like Winterfell, so like Jon Snow and Robb Stark and myself, and we all had to do like a Northern English accent, which is basically like Sean Bean. But not too Northern English, because then no one, especially Americans, never understood what we were saying. So I think I had to redo my ADR like 3 times on one scene because the Americans were just like, still no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Anyway, sorry, long answer to a short question.
I'm from London originally, but I've been living in LA for the last 9 years. And I actually auditioned via tape. My agent in London communicated with my manager here in LA, and I did an audition tape and sent it in and found out that I booked the role. And for the first time in 8 or 9 years, I actually had to do a British accent for a role. Because normally I'm, German or Russian or American or something other than British. And I had to do a northern accent for my role. And
oh, shit.
Oh, shit. My goodness, here he is.
What's going on?
In case nobody knows, this is Jason Momoa, everyone. Jason, where are you from?
Are you good? What's up?
People are asking where are you from and how you booked the role. Like, did you audition? Tell them your story.
Sorry, man. I was in LA when I went to audition for it and went to HBO. And when I got my sides, it came with a book, like the pages from a book, of the book, and I never had that before. And I couldn't make out what it was, and I'd never read the book. and I didn't really speak English in any of it, and it was just kind of like that scene where it's like, what, takes her dress off, what, or no, it's just no. So I just say no the whole time. It was tough, a lot of dialogue. But there's this love scene, and at first I was like, all right, when I read this, I was like, this guy's just this big warrior. I wanted to see what he was like in battle, and obviously it's not in the books that he's in battle, but I wanted to go in and do the haka, which is the Maori, or I'm Hawaiian, so I mean, we all have our own different war chants, and so I went in, and there's these two little white casting directors, and you know, I'm like, oh, I think it'd be really, I want to show you something. I think it'd be great for the character. Do you mind if next time I'm like, just like fucking stomping. They're just kind of like, you know, and I didn't test it out beforehand because it's not something you really practice. You just do it and you give it. And so when I was done, my freaking heart was like pounding out of my chest, and then I have to do this love scene. So I'm like, I need a second. You know, I was like, I want to kill. I'm just like, I've just opened my mind, all of my ancestors, and they're just like coming in going like, war, pillage, rape. And it was tough to turn that around, but nevertheless, it worked. And it's really like, it knocks away all your nerves to go in there and just yell at the casting director prior to it, you know what I mean?
That's a fucking
It's like it's a romantic comedy, but you just go in there and I'm ready. So, all right.
And just to finish the question, I grew up. I was born in London, grew up in Eastbourne, which is on the south coast, and then both my parents are Greek Cypriots, so that's my background.
Similarly, just to finish it off, I was family from Wales, which is a little corner of the UK, and born in Stratford-upon-Avon, and then moved to Indiana for a couple of years, and then over here, and then came back and basically London-based. So, you know, most actors are kind of London-based when they're adults and stuff like that.
Hi guys, I'm Badger, I'm from Austin, and there's a lot of speculation about the show. What are some of the most bizarre things people have brought to you about your characters?
I heard, here's a great one, that was on someone emailed it to me. I heard that apparently I got killed off because I refused to do any more sex scenes, so they killed me off. It's not true. It's not true at all. And it was funny because it was like this feminist website, and they were on this big rant about how my rights as a woman had been abused and how I was been taken advantage of and blah, 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 and how they fired me. And they were so indignant and enraged about it. I was like, yeah, sorry, you just got worked up over nothing. They killed me off because there's too many characters. No one else?
Well, I have a question for Jason. My question is, if Khal Drogo, Conan the Barbarian, and Ronan from Stargate all got in a fight, who do you think would win?
I don't know about who'd win, but I'd want to go to that party. I'd want to drink with all three of those guys. I think Ronan, just because he's got the gun. Yeah. All right. Yeah, sorry.
All right, come on. Young one has a question. Hey. Hello, young one. Hey.
How old am I?
Hey.
Hi.
How am I?
He wanted to know how old he has to be to watch Game of Thrones. I keep telling him 30, and I thought y'all might have a much younger, better number to make him happier.
How old do you have to be to watch it?
You've got to be able to drive. Depends on your country, but you should be able to drive.
Yeah, well, obviously kind of 18, I guess, but according to my nephews who watch it, I think they started watching it when they were about 14 years old, Yeah.
See, like,
so it kind of doesn't.
My mum, don't tell her I told you this, is like, okay, so she's after 40. She's somewhere up there and she's older than 40. And she doesn't watch it because it's too scary for her. So, like, you know, it depends, but you got to be a bit older.
It's like there's a situation. I had to work with this really cool.
14? Did you watch some of the stuff that happened in season 1? 14? Can I just say, when I have kids, my 14-year-old is not watching it. No.
Oh, come on.
Never.
I'm watching so much stuff these days at 14. Of course, 14's cool, I think. I'm realistic.
Thank you.
I had to work with, one of the actors I had to work with was this kid called Brendan who was like 10 years old. And it was really sad because he was like the sweetest kid, really fantastic little actor. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to watch his own show for at least, another 6 or 7 years. And it was so sad because he was like, but Mommy, when am I going to get to watch his show? And she was just like, but yeah, I don't think you're ever going to be able to watch his show, not for a while. Because the scenes he's in are pretty horrific, nasty scenes. I mean, I drag him by a leg from under a cart and throw him down on the ground, and like, I'm not really like that in real life, but and he was just so sweet about it, and he's just like so upset that he couldn't watch the actual show, but yeah, no, it's not for little ones.
Yeah, I know in season 1 that when that came out, there were certain scenes that the kids' parents didn't have them watch, and we used to have some very awkward table reads where we'd just kind of skim over certain scenes. It would just be like, "Up, up, up, up." Let's not deal with that right now.
Hi, I'm David. I worked here in Galveston for over 30 years, and I want to first welcome you to Galveston, Texas.
Thank you.
And, don't be shy. We have a historical district here and wonderful restaurants if you get the opportunity. So it's a good place. Second, one of the things about the book that I thought translated really well into the series has been both the detail about the food and about the clothing and the armor. And first of all, I want to ask if you all had if they make any attempt in the actual food that they put on the table, you get to eat any of it, taste it. And the second, on the clothing, some of it's armor, some of it's this wool-looking thing. I can't tell if it's comfortable. Whether or not, what are your best experiences or worst experiences with the clothing?
The food's awful. I did a scene this summer, and it was shooting for 5 days in the blazing hot sun in Dubrovnik, and it was a big wedding scene. And for the whole 5 days, we had the same piece of rotting meat in front of us for 5 days, and they didn't change it. And it was just, it smelled, there were just flies swarming it, but it looks amazing. So,
yum.
It looks really good, but the taste and smell, gross, really gross.
Like they don't, there is no, the art direction people, the costume designers, props people, there isn't much pretend stuff going on. Like when you see the costumes, it's all real stuff. There are no fake materials. Like I was wearing a costume that, looked beautiful. It was all leather, and it was probably the most clothing I've ever had to wear in anything I've ever worked on. It was like all leather and real fur and wood and metal and all kinds of things. But then I had to fight in this stuff, and it just wasn't practical. I couldn't even touch my nose. I had a cold while we were shooting in Iceland. I had to get an assistant to blow my nose for me. I literally couldn't reach my face. But it looks incredible, and it's beautiful, but just not the most practical. I mean, I don't know if Jason probably has something to say about practical.
Well, as you know, I didn't wear much clothes, but in the cold Northern Ireland, leather pants, it's pretty cold. And then when you go to Malta, leather pants are pretty hot. So I never really won. Like this whole area was just it just suffered the whole time. They didn't distress it much. It kind of gave it its own look and charm. So I actually have those pants. They're still hanging up.
Really?
I mean, who's gonna want those? They're pretty nasty.
I've worn the same sack since season 1, and excuse me. Basically, I can smell this costume from about like 100 yards. My trailer smells like a barnyard, basically. And I always complained about how hot it was. It's like 2 inches of thick wool. So for season, I can say this now because it's been shown on some clips and stuff. They added the fur of like 60 rabbits on top of this fucking, sorry children, on top of this, what am I talking about?
Your sack.
Yeah, on top of my smelly sack. It's everything you see in Game of Thrones. If it looks uncomfortable, it is genuinely uncomfortable, and we're probably suffering terribly. But it's all in the name of good fun.
Whereas my costumes were so nice, they're in a museum now. Like, I was so lucky. I knew like Michelle, costume designer, really got into the Renly looking very sharp and stuff. And like my armor had 8,000 pieces of stud metal, which were all hand pressed, because they made this incredible metal armor and then covered it in green crushed velvet, because that's how Renly would roll, basically. And so they had to like pinch each bit of the velvet to it. So it had 8,000 studs in it. I mean, it was a bit uncomfortable, but like it was incredible to wear. Like, and it's all real. It's metal and it's all functional, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the costumes, I mean, some of the costumes I get to wear is just phenomenal. Like, every time I go to my wardrobe, there's something new. And I'm just like, what? The level of detail, and, you know, you open it up and there's, like, even more embroidery. And and the armor, they have, like, training armor. Like, I really luck out with clothes. It's like, fabulous. Just love it.
Hi, my name is Lori, and I was wondering, because I really like knowing about the off-camera stuff, what is the funniest or most interesting thing that happened after the camera was turned off?
I could write a book.
I mean, I don't know how many people have heard it, because it's probably coming out through Amelia, but it was the last day of shooting, and our love scene got pushed to the very, very end, so like we're shooting almost in December, late, and last scene, I gotta walk in and do my thing. Drink some fermented mare's milk, open up the hut, go in there, drop my drawers, and she, you know, takes a look at me. Well, I thought it'd be funny, since I'm the one that's gonna be naked, to buy some assorted decorated socks. So I got this, you'd be surprised you can find fluffy little pink polka dot socks in Belfast, but you can. So I put this polka dot fuzzy thing on. It's a large sock too. A lot of big women over there. And put it on, and then she starts her beautiful face just cracks up, she starts smiling. And she starts laughing hysterically, and then David and Dan are kind of like, hurry up, what's going on? And everyone comes in there, and I turn around, and it's on like, God damn it, Momoa, and everyone's kind of yelling. Everyone's yelling at me. I'm like, I'm the one that's fucking naked, man. I'm like, and also just to make everyone else comfortable, like there's a grip standing there. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Bob? We're good? You need any help? All right, let's roll this. So, oh shit, I pay, you know what I mean? So I pick something up. Like, I'd embarrass myself just to make it feel better, like to make everyone else uncomfortable as much as I was. Have you ever done that? You just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna totally. So, anyways.
I didn't even know that story, but I just thought, I'll go to Jason for that. I was like, Jason's probably got something. Anybody else got any funny stories?
I don't know if anybody can top that.
Yeah, it's no one can top.
Hey guys, just working in that kind of environment, working so intensively with other actors and stuff, I'm just kind of curious, behind the scenes, do you get to like make friends with these people? Do you guys get to hang out outside the set, you know, do normal people thing, like go catch a movie, go get coffee with, I don't know, Emilia Clarke or something?
We don't do normal stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, it's pretty weird from where I'm standing, you know, all this famous people thing. Just, I don't know, what's it like when you turn off the cameras and you're like, hey, you want to go get some Starbucks or something?
For me, and I think I speak for quite a lot of us, the greatest thing about this show is just the collection of people that have been brought onto it. Like, I've made some amazing friends over the last 4 years, and it really has attracted such wonderful, like, good people. And yeah, you know, a lot of us hang out
outside these things, because it's just a good collection.
And Sean Bean got me really drunk. Like all the time. Him and Mark Addy, Sean Bean and Mark. It really was Mark Addy, actually, but Sean and Mark used to, at the very start, I was like the only guy apart from them around in Belfast that weekend, and they took me out and just got me wasted. But no, we hang out together, and we went out for your birthday, didn't we? Yeah. We all hang out together. I actually got to hang out with more people not in your own storyline, because that's the nice thing, is you don't get to work with everybody, but you do, you're in the hotel at the same time, and we'd go out, and lots of nice places to eat in Belfast. Made in Belfast, a lovely restaurant, if you're ever there.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same as Finn. I do try to interact with fans on Twitter when I can. You do have to draw a line sometimes when it gets a bit weird and sort of quote your address and stuff, and the commenting about the colour of your curtains in your front room and stuff, and it gets a bit strange. That doesn't happen too often, though. I've made some really good friends from Game of Thrones. I live locally, though. I don't stay in hotels, so I would tend to be closer with the people I actually act with. Isaac and I are very close, and it's such a great group of people. And it's not just the cast; it's the crew as well. The crew are so professional, and they're really great people. It's a pleasure to be a part of.
Yeah, I think it's the same as you guys. We hate them all. I'm really sad because I live in LA now, so I don't get to see them all as much as I'd like to, except at things like this. But yeah, we always used to go to the pub together, and Alfie and I remember that scene that I had with Theon in season 1, that sex scene, and both of us were on this ridiculous diet, and the night before we're comparing who's done what and who's eaten the less, and Alfie's like, I've done this many push-ups and blah blah blah, and then the next day we finished the scene and we went to I guess it was a TGI Fridays or something, and we sat for 2 hours and just ate burgers and milkshake and fries, and we just sat and pigged out together. It was a bonding experience, and we went on the best sightseeing trip I think I've ever had. In Malta. I've never seen so much stuff so fast. Yeah. Sightseeing with Jason is fun.
It's basically like stumbling drunkenly to different places. I'm very close, and when I do see fellow cast members, it's always great. I obviously live in the States, so I don't get to see everyone as much, but when they come over, we still stay in touch, so I stay in touch with Amelia, and unfortunately, I hung out more with you when you were in England. We'll have to change that. Next question. Can I get a water up here or a beer or anything? I'm freaking thirsty, man. I get nervous with this many people looking at me. I'm sure you guys are thirsty too. Let's get some alcohol up here. They're going to be way more interesting questions or answers.
Fast. We don't want him to get angry.
Hello, my name's Melissa, and I have a comment and a question for the wonderful Mr. Joseph Gatt.
Oh, thank you, darling.
I have become familiar with your work from God of War and from Banshee, and I've never been so turned on and simultaneously terrified in all of my life.
I'm sure you're talking about Jason.
And with that said, I was curious to know what you do to keep so fit. What are you bench pressing now? Taxis?
I really wish I could openly say what was just whispered in my ear. Fitness and keeping fit has just been part of my life for a long, long time. And it's just, it's like waking up in the morning and breathing and eating and stuff. So it's just, I work out almost on a daily basis and stuff when it's especially difficult on set or, and stuff when you want to hang out with the other actors and they want to go out and eat and drink and party and stuff. And there I am. I have to ask Jason how he does it, how he does both, how he works out and stays in shape and still goes out and parties. I've not mastered that ability. I'm the boring bastard that just goes to the gym while everyone else is having fun. It's just become a way of life with me. I just enjoy fitness and staying fit and watching my diet and working out and stuff. But I'm still a fun person sometimes. I promise.
Thank you. I love you all, but I love Joseph more.
Thank you. I'm blushing now, just a little.
Hello, my name's Kelly. I have two questions, actually. The first one's for Jason. I'm just curious, as an actor, how hard is it to memorize lines in another language? I mean, I suppose no one would notice if you messed up, but I mean, how does that work? Is it a lot harder to memorize something in another language?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I got the role, I did it in broken English. And when I got there for the huge table reading, David and Dan were like, we have this great idea. We found a guy who's going to make up the language because we think it's smart that the girl will learn how to speak your language instead of 500,000 Dothraki learn how to speak English. I was like, that's a great idea. That means, and then like they showed me the dialogue, and I just locked myself in my room and trying to learn it like a fucked up hip hop song. You know what I mean? Like, truth be told, it's just like I was kind of compared to like Jabba the Hutt meets like Fozzie Bear. It's like waka 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 and fucking Chewbacca, like, and just throw a little slice of Hitler in there, and you got yourself fucking Drogo. I mean,
So did you mess up a lot when you were doing it, when you were trying to do this other language, or did you just have it after you locked yourself in a room?
I just, it was the greatest role I've ever played, and I can barely speak American, so I mean, I love learning something different and playing a character, and I just tried to, yeah, it was kind of crazy, because I'd be walking around the streets of Belfast mumbling to myself and weird gibberish, and the show hadn't come out yet. It's funny, because I actually had to have, I only had a mustache, and they put the beard on, because I just couldn't grow my beard that fast, that long. And I'd be walking around Belfast with this mustache, and it's really hard to get eyeshadow out, as you ladies know. And Drogo used to wear a lot of mascara, and I look like a big tranny. And you catch me at the Spaniard just being like, I'm like, what are you looking at? I mean, like, really bad looking 70s porn star. You weren't sure which way he went. That was kind of, and then when I came back the second season to do the one episode, everyone's like, Jason, that's why you look that way. You know what I mean? Like, forever I just look weird.
Okay, and then my last question is for everyone, and I guess this is a little different than the pink fluffy situation, sock, whatever. But what are your like funniest or most awkward moments that you might have had when the camera was rolling? I mean, did y'all have anything, like any type of costume being caught?
Tell us about your awkward story. I know you got a good, I've had many good conversations with you about your awkward story.
I had a very awkward day. I don't think he was going to mind if I tell the story.
Remember when he had to push down?
Oh God, that awkward story. Okay, apparently I have several awkward stories. Okay, so I do have one. That was a very awkward day. So the day that I shot this scene in season 1 with, in Littlefinger's brothel with the other girl was a trying day.
I'll buy you a beer.
It was a very long day, and there were several things that was awkward about that. Mainly that the girl that I was working with, who's fantastic, absolutely wonderful, wonderful girl called Sahara Knight. She's fantastic, but she hadn't really done anything like a TV show before. She comes from a different industry, and so she didn't really understand she didn't understand the concept of continuity so much. And I kept trying to explain to her as best I could that, we're doing this scene, and then that when your butt is here, and I'm saying this line, your butt needs to be here every time I say that line. Otherwise, when they edit it, it's going to be a nightmare, because you're going to be up, you're down, you're here, you're there. And she just couldn't get it. I don't know why. It just wasn't computing. It was very hot. It was a long day. And in the end, I was like, I don't really know what to do with this girl. Because I know that I'd be damned if... I have a thing about continuity. Like, if I'm watching a film and the continuity is bad, I will switch it off. I turned The Aviator, great film, I turned that shit off. Because the continuity was so bad, I just couldn't deal with it. So I'm like, I'm be damned if my scene's going to be ruined because this girl doesn't understand continuity. So I just started manhandling her, and I was really mean, and I felt horrible, and I just like, yeah, dude. But I did. I spent the whole day basically pushing her around, and I'm pushing, and I'm shoving, and and I'm pouring with sweat, and then I turn around, and it's meant to be a closed set when you do sex scenes, so there's not really meant to be many people there, and I turn around, and there's like 5, I'm in Malta, and there's like 5, I know, 5 guys from the Italian film crew, all holding one flag over a light. And a flag is like a pole with a board over that you control the light with. It takes one person to hold a flag. They ain't heavy. And there's 5 of them. They all like have one finger on the flag each, and they're all like grinning like Cheshire Cats. And I'm like, what? I'm having the hardest day on set, and you guys are doing what? Yeah. So they left. So that was awkward. And doing that scene with Julian Clancy in season 1 where he was wearing that nightgown, and he did have a moment where he chose to stand in front of the heater, because we shot that scene in Belfast, and it's meant to be in King's Landing, and it was in Belfast in December. And it was so cold that the makeup artist kept on coming. She's like, your nose is red. And I'm like, well, duh. I'm like naked, basically. We might as well be outside. It was probably warmer outside than it was inside that studio. And so we have these heaters that are basically like the jet of an aeroplane. They're like, and Julian, who plays Master Pycelle, stood in front of it in this nightgown that he's wearing, and the whole thing just went up above his head. I'm like, oh my God! I was mortified. He wasn't. He thought it was hilarious. I was like, so don't do that again, dude. That was embarrassing.
Anyone else have an awkward story?
Not that awkward.
All right, well, thank you very much.
I'll give you another one. Also in season 1, I'm sure you can guess, it's also my bloody nude scene. My scene was outside for a start, yeah, and it was raining. And I had to wear this horrible sort of, so embarrassing. It's like a thong with a huge penis on the front of it. But the pubic hair had to be plaited into my own. So the false pubes had to be sort of knitted into my own pubes to make it look real. So
I would be screwed.
This is fucking way better than mine, dude.
Yeah. So I literally had like big long pieces of pubes going down. I couldn't get them off. But
Is
anyway,
anybody
that's not
taking
actually the
this?
story. I had to like crouch in this bush whilst Bran and Usha were having their little chit chat or whatever, and every time I came out of the bush, like it was awful, honestly. Every time I came out, there were 2 pheasants, like birds, and they were basically fucking. And every time I would come out, you would hear this like noise. And I'd have to go back into the bush. I'd have to like readjust myself. And it was the worst day of my life. Yeah, and I'll tell you about a closed set. I was told it would be a closed set, and there were 200 people there in a circle, including the people who owned the land. Yeah, so there you go, beat that.
From now on, when I do these, I'm going to tell your story. I've got some dirt on him.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I have a question for Jason. In the books, Khal Drogo goes to war with his Khalasar against another Khalasar, and that's how he receives all his wounds. He receives much more than in the show. So my question is, how does it feel to be the most fearsome warlord dying from the Dothraki equivalent of a paper cut?
Dying from what?
I died from a pillow, asshole. You should read the fucking book before I come down there and kill you with a fucking pillow. Security, get his ass out of here.
Well, speaking of death, I'm sad for everybody on the stage who's dead. How much does it suck to die and not be a part of the show anymore?
What was that? What was that?
Well, the dead people on the stage, I'm really sad that you're not on the show, even the bad ones. And I'm just sad that you're not there. So how horrible is that when you know your time is up?
How much does it suck to die?
How much suck to die and not be on the show?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I knew it was coming. So at least I had that. And it's kind of tough. The biggest thing for me is like when later, like after I died, like Harry is a mate of mine from way back. So when he died, like he sort of like prepped me for when I was gonna die. I was like, leaving the show's tough, dude, but you'll be ready for it, kind of thing. And like when Richard Madden went out this year, I sent him a text and was like, welcome to the afterlife, dude. Like, we try and like look out for each other. No, I mean it's such a privilege to be part of the show at all. I think it's not really a bummer. You hope you go out in a cool way, and that's basically, yeah. I don't know. It was all right.
I mean, for me, it sucks to watch your wife cheat on you when you're dead. It's like dying, and then you get to watch your life continue on, and everything's fine. No, it's same thing. It's just great to be a part of the show, and but it needs to happen, and so that's why it's such a great show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Brittany, and my question's for all of y'all. And what was y'all's favorite scene to shoot?
I loved my tiny little scene that was written especially for the show, which was the scene where Arya is upset and I kind of hit her a lot with a sword and tell her to buckle up. And obviously that very famous quote about what do we say to the god of death. So, and I love that because it was nice because obviously in the books she doesn't meet Syrio that often, but Dave and Dan wanted to have an added scene to establish our relationship and also kind of see the progression of her getting better at her lessons. But that was always lovely, and it's kind of a real. It's very humbling and also very touching to me that people kind of took that so much to heart and kind of enjoy that. Such a tiny little, scene, but it kind of, it's exciting. It's nice. It's a very, very lovely feeling. So yes.
We should have seen this season, which was a wedding scene, a kind of infamous wedding scene, which was amazing to film. I can't really say much about it, but it was really incredible to be a part of such a historic event in the show.
I said this earlier, but I really enjoyed the scenes in the second series with Finn and also with Natalie, that little story beat where you see him in the bedroom with Loras and then with his sister. I thought the way that they told that story is quite a cool, and we shot those scenes very close together, and it felt like a really progressive way of shooting it. So yeah, that I enjoyed that a lot.
I have to say, obviously this is a bit of a cop-out, but in season 4, it's just, everything's better. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I really enjoyed everything we did for season 4. But in the previous seasons, there's a little tiny scene which Natalia Tena and I did, where she was complaining about how that The raids never do any work. We have to build the campfire where they sit and talk shit. And she just gives me a look. She's like, I just like, it sounds really strange, but Michelle McLaren, who's the director, she was very specific. She's the only director that's ever been specific with how she wanted me to say Hodor. And she just said, I want this the first time, and this is how I want it. And I just did it, and people seem to like it. So it was very funny. Anyway.
I think, I don't know, it's really hard to pick, but I think probably the scene that I shot with Alfie in season 1, I think it was about episode 3 or something, was amazing. I mean, it's hard though, because working with Peter Dinklage was so incredible. There wasn't one actor I didn't enjoy working with, it was amazing, but working with Alfie, I don't know, we had just like, I think sometimes you have this moment as an actor where you get so lost in what you're doing, you kind of forget what you've done, and you come, and they call cut, and you're like, ooh, I don't remember that. And it's kind of like you start flying, or you have like some weird, it sounds like really ridiculous, but it's like you have like some out-of-body experience or something. And when we were shooting that scene, every time we got to the end of it, I was like, it just felt right, like the chemistry was right, and I think, yeah, that was mine.
I think the Red Wedding for me. I mean, I wasn't there, but I mean, that was amazing. Like, Michelle just broke my heart, man. I was a wreck. I loved it.
I can't talk about a scene that I was in, obviously, because that would be giving some shit away. But my favorite scene was the Blackwater scene from season 3. That was just like ridiculous, that battle, and Peter Dinklage's work in that was just, unbelievable. But there was a particular scene between Peter and Charles Dance when Charles Dance was just cussing out Peter about why he's just a shitty little son and he's like the runt of the family. It's just probably one of the best acting scenes I've ever seen, period. I have that scene separate and I just watch it every now and then just to see two incredible actors doing the most ridiculously brilliant stuff on screen. It's mesmerizing. It blows my mind. I mean, Charles Dance and Peter Dinklage together are just magic. I wish I could have been in the back of that scene just doing anything, bringing a cup of water in or something, because it was just fantastic. But yeah, that's my scene.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, the skin in the greasy is so good.
And now for our final question.
I know, I had to hit sooner or later. All right, guys, finally, have you ever pilfered anything from the set, and what is the favorite thing you've ever taken from the set?
Ever taken from the set? I don't know. Is anyone going to go first?
I think I answered this yesterday. I tried to take my wooden sword away with me, and I got stopped. Got caught. And the irony is that it was the broken bit, so they even kept that.
Literally all I got was a lace from my costume, like one little bit of lace that I kept from my armor, and it's not very exciting, but I wanted something. You can't really carry off like 8,000 pieces of metal under your arm and get away with it, unfortunately. But did you? Have you kept the dong?
No. The only thing I've ever stolen taken was Hodor wears a little man bag on his belt, and it used to be filled with nuts. So I kept a handful of nuts, So I still have them, and they're all moldy. So if anyone wants some moldy Hodor nuts, you can contact my agent.
I never stole anything. I'm far too scared of HBO's wrath. But I got sent my kimono that I wore in season 3 with the little finger on the pier, the amazing turquoise kimono. They sent that to me a couple of months ago because I made such a fuss about the fact that I finally got a costume. So they took pity and sent it to me. So I have that, which is amazing. It's like a work of art. It's incredible.
I didn't wear much, but I'm just a natural-born thief. So I stole all kinds of shit from the set. And I'd always be looking at stuff. I mean, I stole a lot. And they know it too, but I mean, who's gonna fucking say anything? And And I took my clothes and my wardrobe and I mean everything. The only thing I didn't get was the Arax, my big sword. But I mean, Tommy the Gun's pretty fucking solid on keeping that stuff. But I've told David and Dan, and every year they go back, they're like, we'll get you the Arax. I'm like, God damn it, give me my Arax. And they still never give me my Arax, so I'll get it eventually. I get everything I want.
Shit. I really badly wanted my sword. It was fucking awesome. I loved my sword, but no, like Tommy just wouldn't let that out of his sight. I got my underwear. I kept my Under Armour underwear. That was it. That's all they would let me get away with.
Huh?
Did you steal anything from set?
No, but I'm planning to next year. I want to steal my little flower pin. That thing. Or brooch, whatever you call it.
Thank you, guys.
That was the last question. Y'all want to say bye?
Bye. Can I make a request? Can we put the lights on and then everyone like does a little cheer and I can film it? Because this is a moment I want to remember personally.
Pretty amazing.
Okay, so count. You can't give them a 1, 2, 3.
What am I doing? When I say 3, you better cheer. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Going on next door is the creator of the Dothraki and High Variant Language. David Peterson has been holding a panel right next door over in Stage B.